Hailing from Kentucky, he won over $200,000 for his first place finish in the $1,600 World Series of Poker Circuit Maine. He used to love Bodog. He now loves DraftKings, and he certainly don't love them hoes. Welcome to the Pokertube podcast, Justin Truesdell.
What's up, Jeff, man? That was a great intro, man. Makes me smile. Makes me remember poker days.
Yeah, those are the good times. You know, you try to remember all the wins and try to forget about 90% of the time when you walk away tilted.
Yeah, it's not that hard now. You just got to step away a little bit, get some other things in your life, and it's easier to forget about those losses.
Yep, you got to take the good with the bad and, just try to remember the good times, just like any other encounter with, females or other gambling aspects. I know you used to be one of the GOATs back in the day on Bodog. Can you tell me a little bit about 10 years ago when things were really popping?
Oh, man. I'll just tell you how I got into poker. I graduated college. I moved to Louisville, and it wasn't that easy to get a job back then, so I ran up some debt. It was the first time I was, able to get a credit card, so it's easy to throw some money on a credit card. Worked in Louisville for a while and just wasn't getting anywhere. Didn't know what I was going to do in life. And then I moved to Frankfort, Kentucky, the capital. And I had a friend, my old roommate from college, and he was playing sit and goes on Party Poker and Paradise Poker. And I remember the first thing I said to him when he tried to get me into it was, man, that stuff is rigged. Just like most people say. And he tried to convince me, no, I've been winning. You just read this book. It might have been Phil Hellmuth, but it was somebody just saying to play 10s and higher, but if you're in late position, you can play 9s, 8s. So I started playing that, and I was winning. It wasn't very hard just to win on sit and goes. And then I found I like sports betting. That's one of the reasons I got into a little debt too, was from sports betting. So when I found this Bodog, and you could take your poker winnings and gamble on them. So I still wasn't making money at sports, but it was fun. So I would do that and play on there. And I still remember, I think I was one of the better players on the site, but there was this guy named Ari that everyone was talking about. He had to be the best player on there. And this was like right when I started to get good at poker, and I paid off any debts I had. I quit my job, and Bodog was fun. There was like a little community of people, and it's crazy because I still talk to 10 to 15 of those guys that I met back in 2006, 2005 playing on Bodog. And we had a little tournament leaderboard I set up, a little race. Russo Street came out of nowhere and won that, just crushed everybody and got everybody. And that camaraderie everybody had from playing together every day trying to chase this leaderboard on a site that only had probably 200, 300 people in every tournament. It was fun, and we started meeting in Vegas. I think we got a house that summer, and everybody just cheered for each other. And, yeah, like you said, that's the good old days, just thinking about we were all young, we were all naive, going to Vegas for the first time for an extended period of time, and everybody just cheered for each other. We would play each other every day. And I know if you don't really play, you think when you're playing against friends, guys are taking it soft on each other, but when there's a lot of you playing, you're going harder against the guys you know their tendencies, and you want to knock them out. So that was the fun times. And like I said, I'll still talk to at least 10 of those guys.
Yeah, it's much like the UFC. The guys go in there trying to kill each other, but they still shake hands and hug afterwards.
Right, and especially back then, we were young and nobody really had many responsibilities. So if you lost a couple thousand, even, you can get that back. Those were the days when poker was so easy. It's looking back now, and I know you can, anybody watching, if you played way back then, it wasn't that hard just to run it back up if you lost, so you could gamble more and have these leaderboard bets. Especially, I always like those because you're giving the money back to each other. There's no break. There's no site taking their juice. So it was fun, and it's great. Just like you said, beating each other's head in at the table, but then hanging out afterwards and then talking about it.
Okay, so you said you were very successful on Bodog tournaments. Did you play cash games also?
No, I've never really played cash games online. Maybe in the past couple of years on these these little sites nobody really talks about. But back then, no, I started off on sit and goes. I played sit and goes more on Paradise Poker and Party Poker. When I found Bodog, I started playing these multi-table tournaments because they had overlays. You know, thinking back, that's exactly why I started playing them. I would play, they would have rebuys. I wouldn't add on. I wouldn't rebuy. I would just buy in with one bullet and run with it. And I had some success. And even then, the 100K would get like 55, 60,000 in the prize pool. So once I found out about overlays, that's when I fell in love with tournaments, and I played those every day. I would just set at a computer. First time I had a computer in my life too, so it was good to have information in my hand. I just loved it. I was just sitting in front of the computer all day, every day playing. I mean, you know those days. And the multi-tables were – other sites had overlays too, but Bodog had the largest, and it just made it so much more fun. It was like you couldn't miss a day because you were giving up money. You were giving up that extra that money that Bodog was giving out.
Yeah, I remember that, especially the Sunday 100K would never even come close to 100K, and that was their biggest tournament with a 162 buy-in. That was before it went anonymous, maybe 10 years ago. And, I mean, there's just so much value to be had because it was mostly just degen sports bettors playing that tournament also, because they'd get tickets in their account to just free roll it, and they just gamble it up.
Right. So yeah, you had an overlay, plus you had the people who didn't know what they were doing and just wanted to play. And the software was a little buggy, so it kept out the higher stakes players and guys that played more tables than I did at the time. I ended up being a guy that played a lot of tables, but at that point, I probably played 4 to 6. So it wasn't hard to play Bodog. And yeah, that really got me going. And thinking back now, I don't know if I would ever played multi-tables like that if it wasn't for the overlays. I've always enjoyed sit and goes more than anything. I feel like it's a race. It's more accumulation. That's how most people feel about cash games, but I've just never had the success in online cash games. So I have a sit and goes, and it feels like you just try when you see an ROI and you see what you can get, then you just know you have to put in the work. Just like somebody going to work for $15, $20 an hour, you know, you put in 40 hours, you're going to make this much. That's how sit and goes were.
I agree. I've never gone busto, but I almost did once until I realized I could play at PokerStars $6 turbo sit and goes, and I was winning $1 per $6 sit and go. So I'd fire up 10 of them, $10 an hour. Hey, I'm not going to be broke. I got that guaranteed $10 an hour. And
I miss the days of PokerStars because I still feel like I'll never lose at sit and goes, but there's no sites that have the software that's not buggy. All these sites that I try to play now from the States, if you try to play too many tables, especially sit and goes where you're always clicking buttons, you have to make a lot more decisions. You're not really making decisions, but you have to do more in sit and goes. You're clicking more buttons. You're playing more hands because you're more shorthanded. So I just feel like PokerStars is a site where you can just rattle off 20, even 30 tables at a time and play sit and goes now. But these American sites, it's hard to do that.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot tougher on the American sites and on PokerStars due to the software, the recreational players getting weeded out of the ecosystem, and the bots, the robot-generated accounts from Russia, Belarus, stuff like that just aren't going to lose because they're just GTO bots that have no emotion, no tilt. They just play perfectly every time. Good luck.
And I'm sure I'm naive about this, but I always think you just have to be better than the bots.
You can't.
It sucks that they're taking money out of the ecosystem, but I don't know. I don't know. I think there's a shorthanded in sit and goes. If you know what somebody's shoving for the most part, I don't think it's not that tough to beat them. I mean, you're not going to beat them for a high ROI, but you know it's not hard to at least hold your own.
Allegedly, all these bots are programmed with PioSolver software, so the best thing you can do is break even versus their unexploitable strategy. It's a harsh reality to face.
I don't play poker anymore much, so that's probably a good thing.
That's what I hear in the streets. I mean, of course, it's not going to be 100% bots, depending on what level of sit and go, what site, but it's just something to be aware of. and the software has definitely been out there on 2+2. Guys that have been banned for using the software have come forward with it and showing how it's just unbeatable. You're just trading the rake around and hoping weaker players are in there.
It's just a shame.
It's a damn shame. But as I predicted a few years ago, bots are just going to take over most aspects of our life because they can do it better with no emotion, no sleep, and even jobs at McDonald's. It's just going to be all robots, robot truck drivers. Why not? If it's safer, just like self-driving cars, more economical, it's the natural progression of technology.
What are we going to do?
We have to invest in bots.
Good idea. Okay.
You can't beat them, you join them. Elon Musk talks a lot about how scared to death he is of AI starting World War III or just taking over most of our jobs, and why he thinks universal basic income will be the future. And it's the only way to sustain us as a species.
He's smarter than I am.
Yeah, it's possible.
Apparently, but he's.
All right, a couple questions from the chat. Weston Thompson says, Boski, you needed to switch it up to ribeyes. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Weston. If you look at per pound, per dollar ratio, ribeye, too much fat, too much gristle. Filet, you eat the whole thing. There's never gristle. It's max value, max pleasure, perfect marbling. Ribeyes, no, that's too old school. Trust me, filet mignon, all day. What do you think, Trues?
I wish I was a steak expert like yourself, man. Yeah, I'm sticking to pork chops for the most part.
Pork chops, not too bad. I prefer bacon myself. You like bacon?
I love bacon. I just can't eat too much red meat, man. I'm getting old. Got to watch what I put in my body.
Pro tip for bacon. I tried it in the skillet. I tried it in the pan. The oven is the place you want to put bacon. 15 minutes, 400 degrees. Perfect.
You might have been the one that told me that, but somebody told me that recently. So
it's definitely the GTO way to go. The perfect cooking technique, perfect convection of heat versus the melting of the fat into the pan. The only problem is the fat cleanup on the oven sheet with the metal Reynolds wrap. Let it congeal for, say, 6 hours so it's not liquid and it's more of a fatty substance. Clean that up, and you're ready for your next bacon experience. Mix that with. My food vlog will be coming soon. It's gonna be
I can't wait to read it, man. Can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be a video, possibly on the Jeff Boski YouTube channel. Food porn in Vegas. Could be a little edgy, but we're gonna get some good food porn shots and make it knowledgeable for the viewers that want to visit Vegas, that want the most bang for their buck, or really want to impress their girlfriend in a nice steakhouse, spend a couple hundo, and maybe old Jeff Boski can get some comps to these nice restaurants for reviewing them. I'll be like a live Yelp reviewer, interactive with an audience.
But you do a lot of cooking at the house, right?
I do. I've been known to make one of the best fillets in town for $10.
Right. Maybe these guys might need to bring their girl over to let Jeff cook for them.
Oh, that sounds kinky.
Then they might be telling their girlfriends, I know this guy.
Hey, I'm not about to open no restaurant. I'm not getting down like that. I just learned how to sustain myself, save a few bucks. But when I go out to restaurants, I like to really enjoy it. That's probably one of my biggest leaks. I know you said you had some leaks gambling on sports. What have you done to fix those leaks in the
I feel like I used to have a leak gambling in sports. I had a lot of leaks when I was younger, blackjack, roulette. I'll stay away from that for the most part now. I might fall once or twice when I'm around friends during the World Series of Poker, but that's more just hanging out, having fun. Sports back in the day, everyone thinks they know what they're talking about because they watch sports, right? And I feel like that's how DFS now is. Everyone thinks they should win a DFS because they watch basketball or they watch ESPN. They know what Skip Bayless is talking about or something. That's how it always was in sports. Now I try to keep my emotion out of it. If I bet sports, I don't bet much, only if I can find people to bet with no juice against. for the most part. It's the only time I'll bet. So with friends, I don't bet on a site or a bookie or anything like that. So it's all right when you do it without juice. That 10% though, it adds up, and it's not really possible to beat the 10%. I mean, if you're the best of the best, but even at DFS where there's not many people that win, I think you'd have a better chance at winning in the long term than betting games. You might not lose. You also have a better chance at losing a lot of money if you play DFS, but no one's going to win over 10, 20 years of betting sports unless you're at the top 1% of the 1% as far as variance.
Gotcha. And even those top 1% sharps, they have trouble even getting action because they've been banned by multiple sports books.
Right, and what I'm saying, that's like the top 1 out of 1,000 serious sports bettors are that good. It's just that hard, and those guys spend a lot of time working at it. You really don't think that when you first start gambling, but I've just been around long enough and dedicated a lot of time to trying to beat it, and then learning about the people that do actually beat it, that I just know it's too difficult. It's not worth your time. As long as you go into it thinking it's like going to an amusement park. I mean, it's just entertainment. So it's no different than paying your cable bill to watch TV. It's entertainment. So as long as you know going into it and don't have big expectations of how much you're going to win, that's what sports gambling is to me.
Some great advice for the casual viewer. Don't go in with your hopes high. Do it for a little extra sweat on the game. That's why I originally got involved with DFS myself before they banned it in Las Vegas. Was I got to do all this research, put my knowledge to the test, and watch all this shit on Red Zone. And it's just like endless action because I'm rooting for 30 different guys and 30 different teams, lineups, contests. It was like the best thing ever. Of course, they banned it. Thanks, casinos or DOJ, whoever did that. Hopefully we'll be back someday. But I know you're one of the top 200 DFS players in the world. Is that true?
200. Wow. Yeah. I know I was higher. I hadn't looked at it for a long time. I mainly just do NBA, so I've played some MLB lately, but just the past couple weeks messing around in the small stakes. But I do all right at NBA, but I spend pretty much from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I go to bed almost every day during NBA season just studying and watching games and learning. I think NBA is has a lot less variance than the other sports. MLB is supposedly the one that you can have the biggest edge at, but I don't have an edge, so I've got to stay away from it. I think MLB is more learning to program a computer, so then you have all these different matchups. There's so many matchups in MLB and so many different splits that you need to know that it's not really I'm sure there's a few people that win without some complicated spreadsheets and programs, but it's not that easy. Football is more like, this is the first weekend of football, so I've been busy this past week. There was a lot of overlay last night on Yahoo, which is a small site. There's going to be overlay on Sunday too. So if you're watching and you don't know much about DFS NFL, but you want some action, get on Yahoo. It's going to have a big overlay. The players aren't as good. It's a softer site. So anyway, NFL, it's just so high variance because you can catch a 30-yard pass down to the 1-yard line and get tackled, and you don't get that extra 6 points. And the guy the fullback gets 6 points, or your running back. Last night, Gillislee for the Pats scored 3 touchdowns. I don't know how many yards he had, but it wasn't that many. He just kept getting in from the 1 or 2 yard line. So it's high variance, and you have to know that going in with NFL, and especially it's only 17 weeks plus the playoffs. NBA is every single night. MLB, you have at least 180 nights during the year. NFL 17. You can break that down into different slates, and it makes it, cuts some of the variance down. But it's just so hard, I think, even for the best players to win every season in NFL compared to the NBA.
Okay, so your main game now is the NBA. Would you say that's more of a labor of love than a job, or a profitable hobby?
Oh, I love it. it's definitely, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. Oh, I mean, I guess I would if it was better than whatever else I would do, but it's definitely fun. But even like when I was a kid, I used to get basketball cards and compare the stats and have them like have two basketball cards play against each other and see who won. When I was in college, my biggest paper in what class, econometrics maybe, some big econ class was figuring out the correlation between the NBA point guard and the stats for the point guard and the team's winning percentage. So this was back before maybe I could have done it at the time, but I didn't know how to do it. But I had to write all these down by hand. It wasn't easy. But I spent so much time for a paper that I didn't even like. So now when I found something that was like that and I could get paid to do as long as I was good at it, I just fell in love with it. And now it's fun because every morning I get to wake up and think I've got a chance to win big money that night. I've got a chance to break down different numbers, every game's like every day is a different puzzle, and I'm trying to put it together and see what puzzle works is the best. And the big thing about NBA that you don't have in the other sports is that there's a lot of late news. There's a lot of late scratches. Maybe not the first couple weeks in the season, but once you get a month in, almost every night there's, in the last 30 minutes before you have to put in your lineups, there's some news that changes the whole slate. You can go. You might spend the entire day working on a team, and then even if it's a guy that gets scratched, say LeBron is scratched, even if you're not playing LeBron that night, that changes every single player on his team. So you have to change all your projections, and that just makes every team that you made a bad team then because you have value that you didn't have before. So it's fun doing that, and I like how it's not like poker, as in when you're deep in poker tournament, I get nervous. I don't care how many times I played for big money. I had a portion of my life when I didn't get nervous deep, but now I'm nervous, but I don't think about I can take every action and not think about anything and be okay. But between hands, I want to pace around because I'm thinking about everything. In DFS and especially NBA, it's better. You just have this intense time of leading up to the time where you have to put in your lineup. And as soon as the lineup locks, then you can relax, you can sit back, and you're just enjoying the games that night. You still need to watch the games. You still need to figure out what's going on and take that in for the future, especially the NBA, because the NBA is more about reacting to what you see, where the MLB is more about reacting to the numbers that you see. The NBA, you can tell sometimes when a guy's a huge part of the offense, but he just happened not to shoot that night. Maybe his guy was up on him more. Maybe the defense was scheming towards him that night. But then the next night he's going to be a big play, and you only know that if you watch that game. So I love how the NBA, it's all this intensity right until 4:05 on the West Coast, whenever that first game starts, and then you're just relaxed. You just no care in the world, and that's sort of how the reason that in poker everyone gets so tilted when you take a bad beat. If you get aces in, you lose to say deuces. I mean, that's just it's the worst. It's the worst. But in DFS, I can lose. I can have my guy get a couple fouls at night, and I'll be out of it even in a half hour one night if my best player is out, gets 2-3 fouls early. But it was still fun, and I still like to watch the process the rest of the night. It's not over because my game's over. I still need to watch the rest of the night. I still need to look and see to make sure my process was right. And even if I'm not watching mine, I can watch look at all the best players and see what they're doing that night.
Okay, so you're more of a field player. You do plenty of analysis and statistics, but I'm guessing you don't have as much computer knowledge with the algorithms and the real insider info, the last second swaps that some of these top 1% guys do in DFS.
Right. That really hurts me that I don't have programs. I do have, I pay $20 a month maybe for some site where I can put in my own projections, and that helps a lot. Since I found this site, I can put in my projections, and that's the big thing is say LeBron gets scratched 10 minutes before before tip-off, I can go in there and change Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson. I can change their projection real quick and then hit a button. Now, these other people, they have a program that basically tells them, hey, LeBron's out. This is what happens. This is what we need to do. So it only takes me a couple more minutes, but it's definitely less exact. I know, when I go in and project some guy, I don't have him projected for 39.18 fantasy points that night. I'll put 39 and a half. It's these programs are just so down to the exact decimal, where I'm kind of just looking at his stats from the last 5-10 games, thinking about what I've seen lately, and then putting a number to it.
Okay. Is it also true there's some sort of GTO lineup generator? So if you're putting in 150 lineups, you won't put duplicates lineups in there, and it just optimizes them to spread your risk a little bit?
Right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I do. I'll go to just to make it simple, say there's 5 games one night. You have 10 teams. I'll go in there and take every single team, take out the players who aren't going to be a factor that night, who I know won't be a factor, and then take, say, the 7-8 guys who actually play, give them a projection for the night. And once I put in the projection for every team, I hit a button and it just spits out like, this is the team with what you think is going to happen. This is the team that would score the most points if you're exactly right on what happens tonight. And it'll break it down. And then you can also say you want to plan for an overtime game. You don't plan for an overtime game, but it's always good to have a stack or 2 of different games just in case. Because if a game goes to double overtime, you're going to need 2 or 3, 4 guys out of that game. So say I want to have 4 guys out of the Warriors-Timberwolves game that night, then I can put that into the equation. I want 4 guys out of this game. So, yeah, you can do that on a lot of sites. And I know before the first couple of years DFS got big, only certain people had the ability to do this. You had to build your own. Now you can purchase these at least. There might even be sites that let you do it for free that aren't as exact as the site that I use. But if you're playing seriously, you really need to get one of these optimizer sites. And they do have their own projections, but I clear those out as soon as I get on every day. The only thing it helps to look at is when they have someone projected high that I don't suspect to have a lot to do well that night, then I need to look into the reasons if there's possibly maybe the guy in front of him's out that I didn't realize, or maybe the guy in front of him has an injury I didn't realize and is going to be playing that night but not as many minutes, something like that. But you don't have to look at the projections they put on there. I just erase those immediately.
Okay, some good info, good tips. Would you say that Haralabos Vulgaris is the best at NBA?
Yeah, I think he's the best NBA bettor, right? I mean, as far as I know, I don't know his whole. I know his beginning story. I don't know much about him now, but from everything I've heard, he's the best NBA sports gambler. And I don't necessarily think that. I don't know if he plays DFS. I don't necessarily think that would mean he would come in and crush DFS. I'm sure what he has done to become the best sports gambler, the best NBA gambler, I'm sure whatever he did to become the best at that would translate to him becoming one of the best at DFS eventually. But just because he has knowledge of NBA and he can tell you if a game might go over or under doesn't mean he would know exactly the best teams for DFS. That's how I feel. And just like the best DFS player might not necessarily be a great sports gambler.
Gotcha. There's definitely a crossover there. All right. But that takes up the majority of your time nowadays. Do you still play at local tournaments, local cash games? You're currently in Oregon? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm living in Portland, Oregon now. I actually moved here in October, and I didn't play. That was the beginning of NBA season. I got here completely the day before NBA season started. So, no, I just focused on NBA the entire winter, and I went to play. I'd heard they had poker rooms here. I didn't know when I moved here, but there was a Kentucky Derby tournament at the horse track. So I went there, and I noticed it was buzzing like late in the night. There was 10 tables, maybe 15 tables running. So I started going back, and I love it. There's So the rule in Portland is that there's a $15 door fee, but then you don't pay rake. So your rake for the night is $15.
For what, up to 12 hours?
I guess. I mean, yeah, it's open for maybe 14 hours.
Okay.
I mean, if you got there when it first opened and stayed until closing at 1:30, 2 a.m., yeah, you're still only paying $15 in rake. Even I haven't been before the main event is the last time I went. I've been traveling and doing some stuff the last month, but before that, you couldn't even at the place that I mainly went. They have a law about it has to be a tournament. It can't be a cash game, and that's why you're not allowed to pay rake. So it's basically a new sit and go starts every hour. So you couldn't even tip the dealer until the hour is over unless you pulled money out of your pocket, and then it was just like you were giving money to someone.
Stupid laws.
But it's actually a tournament. You know, you play a tournament, you buy in for your amount, you can rebuy if you lose, play for an hour. After the hour's over, you can cash out, you can do what you want, tip the dealer. But I just love how it's only $15 rake. If you think about it, if you play 1, 2, 2, 5 live, how much do you think you pay in rake an hour, especially if you're an active player? 20, 16 an hour, 25?
I think I read it's around $150 for the table per hour is taken off the table.
Okay, so from being a tournament player, I feel like that's one thing that hurts me in cash is that I play too many hands and I want to win small pots, because in tournaments, especially when you're that deep in tournaments, you're winning small. You want to win small pots. Like there's so many small pots. So when I'm playing a cash game, usually, and I do that, they're still raking 10%. They're still raking $5 on a $50 pot. That's a real small pot in cash, but they're taking $5. So I figure I pay 20 to 25 an hour. Even if I'm losing at the game, I think I pay 20 an hour in rake. So you take that out to an average session. Even if you play an average 5 or 6 hour session, that's 100 to 120, and I'm paying $15 now. It's $100 every night. If I go 20 times a month, 4 or 5 times a week, it's $2,000. That's insane to me how great it is. I don't know how long this will last, and I know some stuff's going on with the law. I know it's different at the casinos, at the reservations. They have rake, but in the city, it's like that. It's pretty nice. I didn't realize these places exist, and I'm sure it's like that in other cities too that I haven't heard about, but it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that sounds like a much better deal. I'd happily pay the $15 cover charge to all you can play. It's like all you can drink instead of paying $10 a drink.
But the bad part for me is that I'll justify only having a 2-hour session or a 1.5 hour session sometimes, because I think to myself, I would have paid more rake than that anyway if I was playing anywhere else. But here, when I should, if I'm going and paying the rake, I should play as long as I can.
Yeah, get motivated. How's the competition there?
Oh, it's soft. It's soft. There's not a lot of bigger games where I was playing. I guess there was a guy that came in town that wanted to play bigger games and wanted to play PLO. So there was some 2-5 going on, but usually it's just 1-2 with a $400 buy-in, but you can get pretty deep. There's a lot of action, but it's a mix between a few action players and some real tight players. So it's a lot easier once you've been playing a little while, once you've sat down, you kind of know the people. There's some solid players, but there's definitely some money that it's just gambling and is willing to come there and donate their $100 at a time. And the best part about the rake situation is that those people that come in and donate, say $200, $300 every time they come, they last a lot longer than if they're taking out that $5. So if you're saying they're taking $150 an hour from the table, just think about if they have 5, 6 tables running at night, they're taking what, 15? Yeah, they're taking less than $150 for the whole night. So that's just more money in the poker community that wouldn't be there. Guys that would be going broker quicker, that would give up the game are still going to play because they can just stay in action longer, and they it's just easier for them. It's easier for bad players and good players to stay afloat.
Yeah, that's a great system. I wish they had that available at one of these Vegas casinos because, yeah, I've been playing a lot more cash recently, and it seems like the rake really adds up, especially tipping the dealers, promotional rake, $5 plus $1 plus $1. Man, if I could play 15 just to get in and gamble for 6 hours, that would save a lot of money and, like you said, preserve the ecosystem for everybody.
Yeah, in Cincinnati, I know it was, I think, $7 an hour. It's or $7 a hand with that promotional bad beat jackpot. I've never won a bad beat jackpot. I might have won some little drawings or high hands, but I'd hate to think about how much extra money I've given up in that in my life, and I'm not even a cash game player.
Okay. Do you want to give the name of the casino you've been going to for the viewers, or you want to keep that secret?
Portland Meadows. It's just the horse track.
It's with the $15 cover.
I know there's another place in town called The Game. I moved closer to it. I'm moving today, so I think I might start playing there some. I've heard it seems nice. There's another place called Final Table. I went to once or twice. Yeah, I mainly play at Portland Meadows, the horse track. It's a nice little place, and I guess it's only been open a couple years, so the the chips are nicer. They don't have all the gunk that other places have on them, and that's maybe I'm shallow, but that means a lot to me. I actually like playing with nicer chips.
I agree 100%. We often talk at the table about how often the Las Vegas tournament chips get washed, and it's usually zero. If we ask the floor, they're like, no, we don't wash the chips. We don't have those machines. We don't care. It's just more money we got to spend.
I feel like I spend too much time at the table when I get bored taking the dirt from one chip, taking one chip and rubbing the dirt from the other chip off of it.
Yeah, it's gross. And just think about all the germs you can't see on there.
I don't want to think about it. I guess I might be a little healthier now that I'm not playing as much live poker. But I'm going to get back out there and play these. I feel like I'm just giving up money by not playing right now in this low rate game.
No, it sounds like you got a great balance between DFS and low rate cash games to sustain your livelihood over there.
Well, it'd be nice.
Yeah, living the dream.
Hey, it's not bad. When you do stuff you love for a living, and poker is so much more fun. I cannot explain how much more fun it is when you're not playing it for your sole income. I wish I'd found something earlier in life to mix with poker, but it's just like night and day. I started to get so frustrated with poker the last couple of years. I moved out of the country and played Poker Stars, and the last time I did that, it was just so frustrating. A lot of people from the States playing on names that I don't recognize, stuff like that just really is disheartening. And the games are a lot tougher. So now when even I was overseas a week or two ago and played one night, and it's just not as frustrating now because I can lose a couple hundred and not worry about if I'm losing my mind, if I'm not good at poker anymore.
Yeah, it can be disheartening with people VPNing and just the bots, the tougher competition, possible collusion. And like you said, balance is so important. It's good to completely immerse yourself and be almost compulsive about you want to be the best at something. But if you can do poker as a hobby and it's recreational, I think almost everyone will find it a lot more fun and less stressful.
It's all about eliminating stress. That's what it's all about. That's what life's about, Jeff.
Absolutely. Related comment from Weston Thompson. He wants to know, will Asian massage transition to bots? I'm going to say no, because it's a very intricate personal experience, and everybody's body's different. I've seen ever see those water massage coffins?
I hate those. I went where you walk through the casino.
Yeah.
I got
like jets of water, and you're like in a tanning bed.
It's not as bad as the oxygen.
Yeah.
Tell you, but oh man, the walks between casinos, I've done so much of that. It's man, they try to get you with everything. It's not, and that's not as bad as the Rio hallway.
Oh man, it's bizarre. A bunch of scam peddlers. Oh, your balance bracelet, oxygen, fidget spinner, cell phone charger. What do you need?
It's one thing asking people when they're walking in to go play a tournament and everybody's happy. But when they catch you and you just busted a tournament, if you just busted the main event and they catch you on the way out, I feel sorry for them. Somebody needs to explain to them that that's not how people are losing their livelihoods out here. You don't need to talk to them right when they walked out and mess with some scam, you know.
Yeah, it's funny. I was walking in at the beginning of the series this year to reg for some events, and we walked by all the booths like maybe a few days after they just set up. And I told my buddy I was with, you know, his name starts with ST. And I was bragging. I was like, look, they won't even ask me for a balance bracelet. They're not going to insult me like that. They know I'm not dumb enough to fall for a fake balance bracelet. And he just looked at me and he goes, they ask me every time. I was like, oh man, that hurts, man. So they stereotype you. If you look mad, if you look like a seasoned pro, they're not going to waste their time. They know not to, you know, proposition you, try to, you know, pressure you into buying this piece of plastic for $20 to $100. And those prices aren't set in stone. I know guys or recreationals at the table that were quoted prices over $100 for that piece of rubber just because they think this sucker will pay X amount. Let's shoot high. If he falls for it, we'll say, oh, for you, $80. Retail value, $1. $80 for you, or the cell phone charger guys. Oh my God, they'll get you. You can get that shit for $20 on Amazon, 2-day delivery. You can go to even get ripped off at the iPad store, Apple store, whatever, for $40, $50. They start at $100. They tell about how it's the greatest cell phone charger ever. Hey, you need a charge? Oh, you want to text your wife your chip stack? Oh, we got you, buddy. Fuck that. They pay their little rental space just to gouge the poker playing public, taking money out of the poker ecosystem. I'm setting up a Bitcoin booth or some other scam there next year, and I'm going to really, really reap the rewards of just fleecing the poker industry.
Wait, Bitcoin's a scam? Is that what you're telling me?
No. I was prior to this series, I was thinking about setting up a Bitcoin booth mainly for the Europeans and people that have trouble wiring money or bringing money to the Rio, or they bust a tournament. They got Bitcoin on their phone, but their backers somewhere else. They need money now. I charge them a little VIG. They turn their Bitcoin into cold hard cash, which I got on reserve with some security guards. Rio wins because that's more buy-ins. And yeah, just didn't go through.
Done that before this year. You would
Yeah, it could be big next year. I might still do it.
Yeah.
I just need a lot of cash on hand and some guys that are good at sending a transaction to Bitcoin, making sure it's confirmed so there's no scamming going on. And I think that'd be a great thing for the Rio and for Europeans that have to do the exchange fees, and you're not supposed to take over 10K on a plane with you. These guys are coming over with 100K. They got stables. Hey, you got Bitcoin? I got USD. 5%. Let's do this.
All right, let me win this millionaire maker this weekend, and I'll be your business partner. I'll front.
All right. I just need like 200,000 to 500,000 on hand every day, just in case.
Every day.
Every day, you never know. It could be a.
Let me win the millionaire maker a few times.
All right, I'll be rooting for you. What's you want to give the fans your name on DraftKings?
I guess I don't love them hoes. Is my name on there? I don't think I've ever revealed that to in public.
They're gonna bum hunt you now.
Nah, nobody really knows. But I don't think it really. It's just good if somebody might have played poker before and might see my name as Blues, and it's like, well, I've seen him play poker. You know, I know if I notice somebody's name from poker as a head-to-head matchup, or if there's a small field tournament and I see some poker names in there, I won't do it, because I feel like if you played poker long enough that I recognize your name, and now you're playing DFS, you probably have a solid mindset at least about what it takes to win. So that's why I made my name different than my poker name, just to try to get some extra action that I might not get usually. I don't play a lot of head-to-heads though.
Okay, you're more of a big field MTT guy.
Yeah, I'm always trying to hit that big score. It's always
it's a rush.
The dragon.
Chasing the dragon. That's why you got to quit when you're on top. You win that 200K live tournament, just tap out. It's not going to get much better than that.
That's never going to happen. I've said that before, but then when you win, then all of a sudden you know that you're good. You're like, well, I guess I'm good again. I guess this is so easy to make money. Why would I quit now?
Yeah, that's the false perception, the variance that gets the fish to keep donating after their big win, hopefully. Not saying you're a fish, but,
I mean, I do it, so.
No, you're not a fish. You go deep in the main event every year. What's going on?
Not lately. Day 3 deep, and that doesn't quite get it done. I used to cash before they paid out 1,000 people. Now I'm not cashing, and I feel like my cash record, my cash percentage at the main was good, and it's always good for the poker resume when you cash the main so many times. But now everybody's going to start. Well, I don't want to say everybody. I still know people that have played a lot of times and never cashed. Not to mention any names, but
0 for 11. 0 for 11.
I don't even see how that's possible. You could just get a tough table every year, and you can run bad, but 1 year, Jeff, 1 year, you got to get it done.
Yeah, all it takes is one.
All it takes is confidence. Yeah. Heard that before.
Check out Jeff Boski on YouTube if you want to see my main event run from this year. Day 1, 2, maybe 3. Pretty exciting situations go down. Clocks are called. Floors called. Some out-of-line activities. I almost go to prison for assault. Hey, you never know. Make sure
what? I have to watch this. How did I miss this one?
It's my last vlog from a month ago.
Is that on?
What's up?
One of the videos?
What is?
When you were throwing down dunks in the pool?
I actually edited that out because, 6 topless guys in a pool, I might get flagged on YouTube for some stuff.
Yeah, we didn't need too many ladies becoming part of your fan club either.
Yeah, I'm happy with the 3%. 3% female viewing audience. It's a good stat.
That's what it is?
That's what it is. That's what it is for every poker vlogger.
Yeah, I mean, not many girls play poker, so.
No, but if they do, their stock rises exponentially. If they're a 5, they're in a poker room, they're an 8. And they love it. They love the attention. They claim that, oh, I'm occasionally sexually harassed. How dare this guy hit on me? He called me cute. They just want attention. That's all they want is attention.
I feel like I've only been close with one female in poker. Maybe a couple, but I don't know. I don't know why. I always feel like it's weird. I've been married for the last 6-7 years and dating somebody before that. I feel like it's just weird for me to go out of my way to become good friends with someone when I'm married. I feel like it's disrespectful, but the only one I've ever become close with was someone who was dating a guy that I lived with during the summer, and she was not one of these. She's definitely a girl that's dated a few poker players, but she was gangster. Like, she told how it was, and I know we had some problems with the landlord in Vegas, and I lived with like 7 other guys, and the only one that had my back was her. So I appreciate these females in poker because they're in a male-dominated industry. I know it's not that easy. I know some of them use it to their advantage, and there's definitely 1 or 2 that I know like that, but it's got to be tough, and I know I couldn't make it in a female-dominated industry.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. But I'd say the majority of females in the game, shots fired, they're what I like to call pole vaulters. If you can get that reference. They go from guy to guy. They get staked in tournaments. They flirt a little bit here and there. And from a guy's perspective, do you really want to date a female poker player? Because when you break up, you're gonna see her at the tournaments. You're going to see the new guy she's with. Is that going to be a comfortable environment for you?
I think those guys are short-sighted when it comes to dating someone that's pretty and is around. I mean, and they're getting attention. Guys are in the poker room so often, and especially if you play live, or I guess even online, it takes up so much of your time. It takes so much time to play a live poker tournament, and you're not really getting attention from females if you're traveling a lot, and unless you're on Tinder or whatever, it's not easy, I guess, to go into these new towns all the time and meet girls. So I see why guys would fall for it, but I don't see how staking a girlfriend would be good. I don't know how much of that happens, but I know a lot of lifestyle happens. You know, girl dates the guy, she might get backing from someone else, but you know, there's I'm gonna shut my mouth. I've quit games. I've quit live games because there was a girl and her boyfriend cheating in it, you know, colluding every day in it. And in 2.5 when I first started playing, and now the girl is, you know, pretty famous in poker, and it kind of tilts me because I look back that this was 10 years ago. I'm not gonna say any names. Look into I'm not gonna say names, but they're shady, and this is a girl that people probably don't even think is shady. And I just remember I played 2.5 every day, and this girl and her boyfriend and another guy would go on break together every time together. Every break they took was together. And this was 2006, 2007, and never playing a hand against each other. It's very tilting. And yeah, now she's probably one of the more famous girls in poker, and thought of as an angel as far as what I see. It's tilting.
Okay, well, we'll chat after we stop the broadcast. Get some of that low down dirt.
Yeah, just look into. I've said where I grew up playing poker, so you can just
South.
Girl that might have had a also used to play in that area.
Okay, we'll keep the viewers guessing. We don't want to ditch too much dirt.
I'm not. I mean, it is a long time ago. I don't know how good people are now. I just I've always thought about that. I just hate. I've played in games with people that were backing me before, and we play big hands. It's one thing. It's another thing when you play every day with the same people who don't play hands against each other and who take breaks together. And maybe that's one reason why I've never been much of a cash game player. I'm playing cash here now, and I played in New Orleans for 6-7 months right before I won the main event there. I was a reg at cash, but other than that, I've never got into it because of that. I feel like there's more colluding, and when you play multi-table tournaments, there is colluding, but it's so hard to get at a table with someone that you're going to collude with. So it doesn't happen.
Unless you got a real big stable or you're just friends with everybody, there's definitely going to be some soft playing for people's own incentives.
Yeah, people like Maurice Hawkins will do that. Will soft play. He'll back a lot of people in the tournament, which has happened to me. He's done that in tournaments that I played in. So I'll say that definitely. But yeah, when you come to a tournament, you back 5-10 people and you let them know what's going on. Yeah, that happens. It definitely happens.
Yeah, I think a few weeks ago there was an article on Pokertube about Maurice. About some guy saying he owed $40,000 for a loan he never paid back, and he's taking him to court.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, well, I mean, what actually happened with me in a tournament was some kid he was backing. I didn't even know he was backing him, but they were both on my table, and I had like 2 pair, and I bet big on the river, and the guy called. And Maurice came over as soon as the hand was over. Came over beside him within, like I could hear him. And he was like, I'm not putting my money up if you're going to play like that. Okay. And then the kid goes all in for like 10 big blinds. Maybe 5 hands later, Maurice calls him with 4-3 offsuit from the small blind. So that's shady.
Interesting.
Nothing was done about it. Nothing's ever done about stuff like this, which is upsetting. But I mean, it was almost like he was doing it in my face because he came over within like earshot of me and let me know he was putting this kid in the tournament. And then he calls him, and then the kid busted me, a couple rounds later. So that's bad. I mean, he also tried to fight Quiet Winter. I don't know if you know this kid, Quiet Winter. He used to play. He's a little guy though, man, and he refused to chop one time, and then the next time he saw him, he was trying to threaten him and stuff. Man, I don't like stuff like that.
My gauge of shadiness is on point once again. It's like a sixth sense I have. I can just look at someone and know their level of scum. And
yeah. And I don't. There's not many people that I know in poker that I think are real shady. I mean, there's people that are shady, and there are people. I know people that I think have done shady things because they put themselves in a situation, and that's very bad. But I think there's other people that go out of their way to be shady, and that's a situation of it. There's people that have been broke and then stole some money, and I don't make any excuses for those people, but I understand that. I think they put themselves in that situation. I don't think they went out looking for that. It's like, I don't think it's the difference between somebody getting in a fight and somebody going out and looking for a fight. And I don't think there's a lot of people in poker that go out of their way to be shady, but there definitely are. And you just have to watch yourself and know who those people are.
Yeah. Don't loan money. Don't get pressured into chopping. Don't chip dump. Don't fall for your backers' pressure to chip dump to you or chip dump to him. Be ethical. Good things will happen. If you're broke, get a job. Don't scam. Don't borrow with no intention of paying back. Be a human. Karma will get you one way or another in this simulation. I'll make sure of
it. You do not want Jeff on your bad side.
Oh, no. Other than that, it's been a great pleasure talking to you today. It's always good to have a different guest on the Pokertube podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe on the Pokertube channel and check out Pokertube.com for daily updates in the poker world. If you like videos, you like poker news, for free, go to Pokertube.com. Tonight, we might have a meetup with the infamous Pete Manzanelli. He'll be at South Point if you're in Vegas, approximately 10 p.m. Check out his Twitter at the Mans, Pete Manzanelli on Twitter. Also, Pokertube sponsored pro. Is there anything else you want to talk to the audience about, Justin Truesdell?
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Well,
watching these videos, I need to check out that main event. Yours.
Start with part one. It's painfully ironic without giving too much away. And of course, check out the other 99 poker vlogs I put out in the last 10 months. Plenty of hidden cookies, gems, rants, stereotypes, food porn, Asian massage parlors, everything a man could want, chip porn, porn stars. It's got it all. What more do you want for free entertainment? Jeff Boski on YouTube. Thanks again, Justin Truesdell, for joining the Pokertube podcast. If you stick around, we'll talk a little bit off camera, get some more dirt.
No doubt.
And
thanks for having me.
Thanks again. And we are out.